Alrighty, let's do part, what is this, part 4? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, yeah, this is part 4 of our epoxy, CD poured epoxy clock. Real simple, real easy. Step 1 was pouring onto our CD. Second one was setting our numbers in our clock mold. Step 3 was this is step 4. Step 3 was putting a layer of clear epoxy into our mold once our numbers were cured. And then 2 hours later, coming back and setting our poured CD into our epoxy. And this is where we're at right now. So as you can see, we had epoxy to come up through the center and onto some of the mold, to some of the CD, but it is not all the way in there. So, and if you can see from the front, you can kind of see how it's gonna look. I wanted to do like a yellow background, but that's gonna drown out the numbers. So what we're gonna do this pearls color from Backfist Custom Glitters, and it's basically just like a white color, and I think that should come out pretty good. I don't want to use just clear because I just don't want to use clear. Straight up. Remember, sorry, I'm all winded. Safety first when you're using epoxy. Gloves, mask, your filter mask, if you need goggles. And it is hard for me to mix up just 1 ounce of epoxy, so we're gonna do 2 ounces of epoxy. And I do have those other molds right here, this right here handy to pour my extra epoxy in. So you see, this is the yellow that we used for the numbers, and then I also have the white in there, or the clear, and then we can just put the white on top, and that should give us a nice pretty desk card. What is it? A business card holder. I do have my, let me turn you just a little bit. I do have a bucket of hot water to put my epoxy in, the cup to help with the bubbles and all that jazz. So I'm gonna do the, oh my lantern, my knees are popping. So we're gonna use the Envirotex Light epoxy. And like I said, I'm only gonna mix up 2 ounces, which is gonna be way more than enough. So that's why I have extra molds handy. And this one mixes at a 1-to-1 ratio. And we're mixing. Smidgen more. There we go. One to one. Get my stick. Ooh. The one I used yesterday, it's kind of stuck there. I don't think I'm gonna use that one. I'll use a brand new one. Let's just get this mixed up. Now as I'm mixing my epoxy, I'm turning the cup to make sure I scrape the sides and the bottom. See how that's milky white in there? How you have the white little like streaks? You can tell it's not ready. So you just keep mixing until you see no more, or but most of all, mix according to the directions on your packaging. There are some that will tell you mix in 1 cup and then transfer to another cup and mix again. But I don't think mine said that on there. And this epoxy I've had for a while too, so yes, about that. So it does take a little bit to mix it up. I still have streaks in there. And doing my mixing like this, it's gonna have a lot of bubbles, especially the micro bubbles. But honestly, I'm not too worried about the bubbles because it's on the back side of the clock. So just gonna stick this in the hot water for a little bit. So we're gonna take our pearls color and get an itty bitty cup. I think it's too cute, and I think that's my last one actually. I have to go to the store and buy some more. Thankfully, they don't even cost that much. So I'm gonna take some of the pearls, just pop it in there. I'm only doing 1 scoop. I think that's plenty for the project I'm working with. I don't need much. Close this off. All this other stuff. Oh my Lanta. Get a paper towel. I forgot it's gonna be hard to mix it in the itty bitty thing. That's okay. We'll work it. Oh yeah. Nice and warm. And then bubbles have popped, not all of them, but more than enough. You just mix it up a little bit more. And we're gonna push them into here with our pearl mica. And now let's mix that one up. Oh yeah, it's pretty. I might have to add a little more epoxy because it kind of thickens it up also. Especially if I want to get in all the gaps and then just have a coat on top, and I have to add more. So maybe 2 ounces might have been just right. And so for this project, I believe we have mixed up epoxy, what was it, 1, 2, 3 times. This is the 3rd time. So for this time, I'm using 2 ounces. The 2nd time I used 2 ounces, and the 1st time I did use 2 ounces, but I really didn't need 2 ounces. So for the first one, I would say I maybe used 1. And then the 2nd time I did use the full 2. And this time we'll see how much I use. So let's just pour it on there. First I'm pouring where there is no epoxy that's flowed over, just to make sure I get those holes in, and then we'll do like a coat on top. And we're going, and we're going. And it is gonna flow over in some parts, but you know what? That's what we got a sander for. So after it totally dries and cures and everything like that, then we will take it out and sand it. So that's gonna be like our next step after this one. So I just want to make sure, kind of like, I guess they say doming it. So I just want to make sure it's gets all the way to the edges. Without, hopefully without it going over. But like I said, if it does go over, dude, that's what we have a sander for. What is it, a Dremel tool? Well, I use a sander. And then for the metal, I just use a straight up drill. So I keep a drill in my craft room, my crafting area. Here we go. So we'll let that set. And actually, we only have, how much epoxy do we have? Less than an ounce left. And it's clear, so we'll just take it and pour it into our business card holder. And if it doesn't cover it all the way, then the next time we'll leave it, and the next time we pour epoxy and we have leftovers, we know where to put it that way. Sweet. I'm gonna turn this up. Actually, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a dab right here. There we go. And I put a dab on the table. That way, when I come back to check it, instead of touching on my mold, touching on my epoxy or what's in my mold, I touch on this on the table. That way I don't mess it up, just in case it's not ready and I happen to touch it, it's gonna leave nasty print. So we do a little dab on the side. That way when we come check it, tap what's on the table, not your mold. Okay, and I believe it is domed. It is doming. I don't even see bubbles, but I am gonna spray it a little alcohol. Oh, yeah. See them bubbles pop? Okay. So yeah. And I'm squatting down, y'all, looking at it. Okay. I think we're good. And that's it for that step. And now we have to wait. And let it dry completely, let it cure. If I do not want any kind of air bubbles or not air bubbles, any kind of lint, sorry guys, I have just a straight up baking dish. I'm just gonna pop right on over, just like that. Keeps the dust off of it, and you're good to go. I'm gonna let it set. I'm not gonna come back to this for another 72 hours straight up. So I'll see you guys in like 3 days. Laters.